When people evaluate disinfectants, their first thought is, what does it kill? And while that seems like an appropriate question, a better one would be, what is the ideal disinfectant and process that will make my facility and my animals safe and disease-free? This presentation will demystify and decode the confusing world of disinfectants and environmental issues into a manageable tool set in order for you to evaluate options for your specific facility. And while you watch, please keep these two thoughts in mind. 1. There is a bigger picture for reducing disease transmission in animal care facilities than relying on disinfectants alone and the mantra, what does it kill? And 2, does an ideal disinfectant actually exist? We must start by emphasizing that a proper understanding of environmental variables and basic principles of disease transmission is imperative before considering how particular disinfectants contribute towards combating disease in your facility. Said another way, it is the failure to acknowledge environmental variables' role and how infectious diseases are transmitted that become a recipe for disaster no matter what sanitation program you may be employing or what disinfecting options you consider. Stress is a leading contributor to disease within animal care facilities. Understanding environmental issues that cause stress in pets will help effectively minimize disease transmission and lead toward a healthier environment. Major environmental contributors to stress include ventilation, temperature, humidity, and space. Proper ventilation is necessary to minimize the spread of disease and to reduce unwanted odors. A 10,000 cubic foot facility, for example, should have an air handler capable of moving 100,000 to 150,000 cubic feet of air per hour, with the ability to adjust the proportions of recycled air to fresh air. Moreover, some sort of quality air filtration system and/or air sanitizing program should be employed throughout the entire facility. And it must be noted that isolation wards should always be ventilated on a separate system. It is also important to understand that hard surface disinfectants have little effect on air quality. Yet, numerous microorganisms are known airborne pathogens. The very act of cleaning, like using high-pressure sprayers, can lift microorganisms and debris into the air. Proper ventilation systems minimize this effect. Clean, fresh air means healthier, happier animals, employees, and customers. To minimize animal stress, ambient temperatures should be maintained between 60 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit or 15 to 27 degrees Celsius. Ideally, temperatures should be kept in a comfortable range of 68 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit or 20 to 24 degrees Celsius. Relative humidity should remain between 30 and 70%. If your floor is wet 10 to 15 minutes after cleaning, your humidity level is likely too high and should be promptly adjusted. Building and housing issues that contribute to stress include the size of your facility and rooms. Are they large enough to accommodate your animal guests? Overcrowding, which includes proximity and visibility to other animals. Building layout and design comfort. Lighting levels. Unpleasant odors. And loud sounds. Think of it this way. If it's not what a pet is used to at home, then stress will definitely be a factor in your facility. Controlling stress will help mitigate infectious disease transmission regardless of the sanitation program being employed. Minimizing the transmission of infectious diseases involves a keen awareness of numerous principles. Overlooking any of these will alter your level of success. It is important to recognize the various vehicles that spread contagious diseases. Pathogens are transmitted directly from animal to animal, through feces, urine, saliva, and through the air, making hard surface disinfectants of little help. Transmission also occurs indirectly through a process called fomite transmission, whereby employees and visitors pick up contaminated material on hands, feet, hair, and clothing and unwittingly transfer it to the animals. If not managed correctly, trafficking management of pets within a facility has significant potential for disease transmission and is found to be completely overlooked by some sanitation programs. Additionally, the current health status of new animals entering the facility, or those already boarded, should be monitored by a consulting veterinarian. Your program should include mandated core vaccinations with ample opportunity given for vaccinations to become effective before an animal's stay. Other variables include the function and capabilities of sanitizers and disinfectants, cleaning and disinfecting equipment, employee compliance with deploying solutions, and a facility's breeding practices. Biofilms also play a role in disease control. Biofilms are a collective of one or more microorganisms, including bacteria, fungi, and polymeric substances that grow on many surfaces and are referred to as slime. This slime is a mixture of extracellular DNA, proteins, and polysaccharides, and is extremely resilient to penetration by numerous hard surface disinfectants. If a sanitizer or disinfectant can't get at a microorganism, it can't kill it. To highlight the issue, the Center of Disease Control has suggested that biofilms contribute to millions of infections, thousands of human deaths, and multiple billions of dollars in excess human healthcare costs each year. Now that you have an understanding of environmental variables, let's discuss disinfectant characteristics and the role they play in reducing disease transmission. Let's begin by confirming that the single solution, the ideal disinfectant, does not actually exist. That is because the extremes of safety and efficacy are often at odds with one another in development and application. A flamethrower, as an extreme example, is developed to do an excellent job of removing all unwanted microorganisms, but during application, the damage created would be completely unacceptable. Defining the ideal properties of disinfectants is a much better approach, keeping in mind the notion that there is more to it than what does it kill. It is important to also note that if your facility polled first-time visitors, two dominant themes would emerge that control customers' initial perceptions. One, does the place of business look clean? And two, what does your facility smell like? Both are directly dependent upon your sanitation program, the products you choose to employ, and should be part of your ideal disinfectant equation. So let's look at the details that define the most important properties of the ideal disinfectant, which should include balance, avoid extremes, and combining characteristics from multiple solutions and methods. What is your pH? Finding sanitizers and disinfectants with a neutral pH is essential. pH is scaled from 1 to 14, with 7 considered neutral. The lower the number, the more acidic a substance. Hydrochloric acid, for example, has a pH of 1. The higher the number, the more basic a substance. Sodium hydroxide has a pH of 14. The further one moves away from the neutrality of 7, the greater the likelihood a substance will burn, corrode, or irritate, and the harsher it will be on the surfaces. But most importantly, the more harmful it could be to animals and people. Water has a neutral pH of 7.0. Bleach has a pH of 11.5. The preferred pH of the ideal disinfectant should be in the range of 6.5 to 7.5. Disinfectant products need to be compatible with materials commonly found in all the animal care structures and units like stainless, galvanized, and carbon steel, aluminum, copper, vinyl, and more. You have a significant financial investment in your facility. Don't destroy it by using products with the capability to easily damage that investment. Safety for all your animals, furry or not, is paramount. But note that safety is often in conflict with efficacy. The key here is balance. Utilize the entire metric of this presentation when evaluating disinfectants and strive for as much balance as possible. Without a doubt, you want to utilize products having a superior spectrum of activity against the major pathogens of concern within the animal care industry. Spectrum of activity is the range of pathogens that a disinfectant is effective. So when a disease outbreak occurs, you must have a supply of appropriate solutions stronger than routine disinfectants alone for use in isolation wards and for intermittent facility treatment. These are higher-level disinfectants and/or sterilizers that are a step above your routine solutions. To be clear, however, that spectrum of activity alone is an insufficient basis for choosing a disinfectant. It's important to have a complete and balanced package. Though cleaning is not generally considered a process of disinfection, cleaning ability should rank near the top of your list of concerns. The combined effects of removing the medium, which reduces actual microorganism counts, and the direct cellular actions detergents have upon microorganisms accounts for upwards of 90% of your ability to control disease. Put another way, 90% of your battle is handled with thorough and effective cleaning. As a rule of thumb, if you can smell it, you haven't cleaned it well enough. Proper concentration of chemicals to water is also very important. Super concentrates like 1 to 128 and 1 to 256 dilution ratios may have a place in your program, but they do not contain enough material after diluting for effective, widespread cleaning ability and odor control. Super concentrates also lack dye concentrations and are therefore easily wasted, especially in facilities lacking automated mixing stations. It is just human nature to pour solutions until they seem satisfactory in color. A 1 to 64 concentrate, which requires 2 ounces of solution per gallon of water, performs best. It is also best to find products that clean, disinfect, and deodorize in a single step, without the necessity to pre-clean and rinse. Since any substance will accumulate over time, you will need to occasionally pre-clean and rinse. But the key here is in having a product able to regularly function without those steps. Additionally, the more steps it takes, the more it costs. Powder products are cumbersome to handle and dilute. Solutions requiring pre-cleaning add time, and both add unnecessary confusion and expense to a sanitation program by causing errors and waste. Please note that you should always remove the bulk material like feces, urine, or vomit, and food bowls, blankets, and the like before using any disinfectant. Many products require extensive pre-cleaning so as not to inactivate their ability to clean and disinfect. Bleach, for example, is significantly inactivated by the presence of organic debris. When combined with organic substances, sodium hypochlorite, which constitutes bleach, actually creates carcinogenic byproducts like trihalomethane, which is also not good news for the environment. A fact that is putting pressure on state and local government to rethink chlorine use, which might result in a movement forward limiting or banning chlorine altogether. If an odor bothers you and your staff, you can bet it also affects your animals, who have a much more heightened sense of smell than humans. Plus, odors create a negative impression of your facility and add unwanted stress to animals and pet owners. Hard water has a high mineral content, making some disinfectants less effective. Product labels should clearly identify the ability to work in at least 400 to 600 parts per million hard water. In summary, the ideal disinfectant in one easy-to-use container does not actually exist, mostly because the extremes of safety and efficacy are often at odds in applications and during product development. That said, numerous products are available today that are appropriate for use in animal care facilities and come close to identifying what an ideal combination should look like. By keeping this presentation in mind, you'll be equipped to easily evaluate disinfecting options and decide what's best for your own particular situation. Remember that balance is key. And don't forget there's a much bigger picture to consider in developing an overall sanitation program than just what does it kill. Your pets, your employees, and your customers will thank you, and so will the structure of your facility, if only it could wag its tail.